Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the Be Weird broadcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Sorry I took yesterday off. Got to catch up on that homework, keeping up with the adult side of my life. But how you all doing? How's it going in your side of the world? Might not be the morning, but top of the morning to you. So we're covering the trucker rally once more. It is getting very spicy, very, very spicy. And we got a bunch of news items lined up. Some stuff happened yesterday. Some stuff happened, let's say Monday. And I'm gonna make sure that we're staying on cue. I got a couple threads, more investigative threads, some mainstream media, but also some stuff from on the ground. And we'll finish off with some live streams at the end. So yeah, thanks so much for checking out the stream. I hope you're all doing well, and we're about to get into it. I'm just gonna rearrange my stuff. All right. Okay, so yeah, the court granted an injunction, everybody. So this is a pretty viral image. I want sleep. Seems like a pretty straightforward demand. And yeah, I have that quote from this article. That's why we're starting with this. An Ottawa judge has granted an interim injunction, a brief stop, seeking to silence the honking horns that have plagued residents of downtown Ottawa for the past 11 days. Quote, tooting a horn is not an expression of any great thought I'm aware of. Amazing, everybody. Just what an incredible articulation of the protest. Like, you guys can do your speeches and you can communicate what you're upset about, but all this horn tooting, what's going on? It's not saying anything. It's an annoyance. The request for an injunction came out of a proposed class action lawsuit filed with the Ontario Superior Court of Justice on Friday by lawyer Paul Champ on behalf of his client Zexi Li, a 21-year-old public servant, and sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. It sought an injunction prohibiting the defendants or any other participant in the anti-vaccine mandate convoy protest from using vehicle horns in the vicinity of downtown. The original motion called for the injunction to cover the zone north of the Queensway, the city's main east-west artery. Champ said air horns and train horns are blasted at sound levels of 105 to 120 decibels for prolonged periods and can cause permanent hearing damage. That's not very polite. Quote, every hour this goes by, there is harm to the people of Center Town. That's like him establishing standing, being like, listen, I'm representing one person who is representative of a lot of other people who are experiencing harm and damage. So the court has a reason to intervene and like stop people. The judge said that while the participants have a right to protest, taking their horns away would not rob them of their right. So we were going to actually meet this person. And actually, this is what that looks like. This is enforcing a. So allegedly, this man had been in the area honking his horn for prolonged periods of time. These are police officers enforcing the injunction that we just reviewed.
Yeah, he failed to ID.
Get back! Hey! Hey! Get back!
Stop.
Get back!
We're back. We're filming. We're doing our part.
Get back!
It's all on video. No, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
You're a fucking goof!
Hey, Ritz, stand down.
Stand down.
Stand down. Stand down. Ritz, no, it's peaceful. No, let them do.
Attack me, you fucking goof!
Super quiet, eh? Let me try to boost that.
This is going right to the media. YouTube. What's your name and badge number? 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 Look, they're hurting an old man, a Canadian citizen. It's communism.
It's communism, everybody.
Communism. He's scared.
Police action is literally communism.
You stand with the communists,
Hey, old
Call
dude.
your police chief. He'll back you up.
Call the police.
Call your police chief.
Fucking
Arresting
arresting
an
me.
old man.
Oh, jeez.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Beat the horn.
Yeah, I know he beat the.
I've been seeing this circulate in right-wing media as like police, you know, destroy old man.
What the fuck do they represent? They represent Trudeau and the police chief slowly.
The liberal government's here directing our local police.
That's what they represent. Hate, division. You are not protecting and serving nobody.
I thought these were the thin blue line folk.
Communism right here. Lest we forget. Fight for your rights. This is bullshit. Communist fucking police.
Man, the accent just makes it so friggin' funny. And I'm Canadian. Like, this is a Canadian accent. I'm just dunking on my own accent. Like,
What's your name and badge number, sir? What's your name and badge number, sir?
You have nothing to do with this.
What's your? Yes, I do. I'm a Canadian citizen.
You're attacking people.
What is your
buddy.
name and badge number?
Tough guys with your fucking guns. Tough guys with your fucking guns.
your fucking guns, eh?
You do that to the Canadian citizens of
Why don't you just take off, you hoser?
Canada. What did we do?
Touch me, you fucking tough guy.
Get back.
Give
Get
up
back.
what are you?
Get
I'm
back.
standing on the
Get
road,
back.
man.
Get
This
back.
Yow. That is just so unhinged. I'm not sure these people could actually handle riot police coming in. They would explode with communism. Everybody knows that the more police you have, the more communist your country. So this is the 21-year-old who stopped the horns.
Finally, some relief for residents downtown. An Ontario Superior Court judge has granted an injunction to stop the constant horn honking for 10 days. This is all part of a class action lawsuit on
Gotta
behalf
stop the
of those
honking, eh?
living in Centertown. The lead plaintiff, Zach.
Bit odd, his mask goes down every time he speaks to anyone. Lol. Yeah, I've seen this a lot happen. Like this odd power play that happens when someone's trying to enforce a mask, like restriction or mandate, even like within a private business, and the other person's not wearing a mask, and like during the altercation, it's getting heated, and their slips below their nose, and the person without the mask is like, "Aha! I got you." You're not even wearing your mask right. So this is clearly about power. And it's like, man, you are arguing with me and showing force. Like, you think I'm worried about my mask right now? I'm trying to just like apply the rules here. Like, it's just like such a demented dynamic I've seen happen over and over again.
Lee joins us now to tell us more. Good morning. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Do you feel like you've got a win this morning for residents in
Those
Centertown?
bangs.
You have no idea. It is such a big win for us. It's a big win, but it's also a baby step, you know, because we really did deserve some peace, and we're glad to have some, at least for the next 10 days.
Yeah, that sigh you
10
had
days.
off the top there, I think said it all. You've probably had a lot of restless nights. Tell me what it's been like for anyone who lives in Centertown. What have you endured?
I also have some footage I'm going to try to pull from someone I know in Ottawa. She's been throwing up some like videos from walking around, so it's some more raw footage, but I just gotta like scrub it so that she doesn't get doxxed or anything, you know what I mean?
For me personally, I've found the noise unbearable. I've endured fear in my streets, and quite frankly, I don't even have the worst of it. There are so many people that live in my neighborhood that can't live here anymore, that
Yeah.
have to have escaped their own homes.
I've heard about
And that, quite frankly, is completely unacceptable. The amount of terror that some people really feel by just being a downtown Ottawa resident right now.
I think the premier of Ontario quipped about like having to escape to his cottage home when a bunch of like yahoos were protesting in his driveway. Like the premier of Ontario being like, yeah, man, people were protesting my what I've done as a as a public servant, and so I absconded to my second residence. It's totally comparable to all these people in their fucking apartments, like unable to like go anywhere, like having to like call grandmas and grandpas like, hey, can I go to your place right now, like, and Kingston or any of the surrounding GTA.
You really took matters into your own hands here to stand up for the people of Ottawa, who in your area have suffered quite a bit over the last
how did she get the money for
12 days or so now.
She must
have
have
you
a
ever done
family
anything
friend.
like this before?
No,
Of
never.
course not. 21.
I definitely feel like I've been part of the silent majority, as you will.
Yeah.
But this situation, quite frankly, really, really ruffled my feathers, if you'll say.
Wow.
And I just, quite frankly, found it unacceptable. And
Yeah.
I really, really felt that no matter what, I had to do something. And if that something is to be a voice and be a face and be even a target for people to understand what really is going on here, then I was more than willing to do so.
Yeah,
because look what the
intense.
action we've seen.
I was just listening to an interview of like one of this person in America who was sort of the face for a Supreme Court case about banning books in schools and whether children had the right to like certain viewpoints. And he mentioned how like sometimes you feel so strongly about something, history just chooses you. Like you just feel like it like nothing else matters and you're the person chosen to do that thing. And I'm getting that same vibe from her, like a real I had to step up and the consequences mattered less than the right being asserted, the principle. Yeah. She did more than slowly. Yeah, I know. That's actually, I think, one of the stranger things to point out, Old Raven Farm, is that the civil court system has, well, it's odd because it empowers the police to issue, I guess, infractions of that court injunction. And so they can start getting ticketed for that. But you're right, like that's very different than the police just like enforcing the bylaws that were already on the books against noises downtown and everything.
Yeah, you say target because you put yourself out there to do this and stand up for folks, and you have become a target of a lot of hate on social media, I understand.
Classic.
Yes.
Everybody
there are
loves to
people
hate.
obviously searching for me. Luckily, I have the
People
benefit
love.
of being mostly private. Luckily, I leave some channels open so that I still receive messages of support, and it really, really does give me hope
Wow.
that there are people out there that are willing to hear us,
Okay.
and even if they're not here.
I think we got her vibe. She's like a very sweet and polite person and just felt like she needed to step up. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm just kind of quickly trying to catch up so we can get to some live footage from last night. CEO of Canada's largest trucking company says vaccine mandate not an issue at all. So we're going to put a pin in that. So this guy, the chief executive of TFI International, says operations are virtually untouched by the vaccine mandate. Vaccination at TFI is not an issue at all, with the vast majority of drivers inoculated. Okay, we sort of already knew that. The past 10 days have seen truckers bear down, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. This was a poll that came around. Apparently, 2/3 of Canadians oppose the trucker convoy protest. Seems about right. I feel like we're in a real 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Like our societies are fracturing. And it always seems to fall along this like 30% range. There's like a funny write-ups in political science circles about the crazification factor, like this like unmovable percentile of the population that is just like bonkers and just votes wildly and just like out of keeping with even their own interests or logic or any stuff like that. But it's like super fringe. So let's see what this report is.
One of Canada's busiest border crossings remains closed to Canada-bound traffic due to an anti-mandate protest.
For the latest on the situation, let's go live right now to CTV Windsor's Sidja Liu, who's live at the Ambassador Bridge. Sidja, thanks for joining us again for an update here. I'm curious, when we talked to you this morning, you said it was only the Canada-bound traffic that was being shut down. However, I think most people should be aware, if they're not already, that there's a similar mandate for vaccination for truckers in the U.S. So have you heard why they're not doing anything on the American side?
Good question.
No, we haven't heard too much, but we do know that the protest on our side is impacting the states. Last night when the protest first started, we saw chopper video in Michigan. There was miles and miles of a long truck pileup, and that is still continuing today. We aren't sure what the American government is doing, but the parties over there have been very vocal about what's happening.
Americans are also losing their shit. I think there's gonna be some Tucker Carlson we can watch where he just like gets things horribly wrong, or no, who was it? It was the blonde. Oh God! If I say the blonde one, that doesn't narrow it down on Fox. Oh geez.
And what have they been saying, Sija?
Well, most recently, we spoke to our local Liberal MP here. I asked him, is the Trudeau government willing to negotiate with the truckers? He didn't give me a yes or no answer. All he said is the Trudeau government is standing firm. But as we know, the protesters I spoke to today, they say they're staying here for the long haul until change happens. So right now, at this point, we don't know how long they're going to be here for.
So, Sija, when we spoke to you this morning, you said that, effectively traffic was stopped coming into Canada. Is any traffic trickling in at all, or is it completely frozen up and people need to are they turning trucks and vehicles around on the bridge? How are they handling the situation right where you are?
Right, that's a good question. You can see them all in the background.
Well, traffic coming into Canada still remains at a standstill. Since I've been here, these 3 roads that lead into Canada, not one single...
Oh shit, have you found anything about Michigan? Well, see if we can pull that aerial footage. I only saw like one image of like the convoy. Oh, yep, bring that protest to Detroit. We'll straighten them right out. Yo, Jack, are you saying Detroit won't take it? I know like Montreal wouldn't handle this shit. Like we would show up and we'd push out. Like it would not be a polite counter protest, let's say. It is beyond me how the government of Ontario allowed the Windsor border crossing to be shut down. They have had a couple of weeks to prepare for this. It's Jim, Premier Ford, it doesn't want to alienate his base. Slowly is ex-FBI. Talk about foreign influence. Wait, what, BT? What? Sorry, what? Please add more to that. All right, I'll check it out.
Moved. Not one single vehicle has come across here. So what's happened is the border has completely shut down. When you look on the CBSA website, it says temporarily not available. So it's not even open for access.
Trump protest jams up Detroit to Canada. This is Waco Tribune Herald is the source. Oh, this music. Okay, let's big it up. A truck convoy protest was held Monday near the Ambassador Bridge, the busiest border crossing between Canada and the U.S. We're seeing a bridge, huge amount of semis on both sides of it. Absolutely gridlocked. Some have full cabs. Some just have flat cabs. Some have no cabs. Any halves? A little cube van there. This happened as truck drivers and others continue to protest COVID-19 restrictions. Canada's public safety minister told U.S. officials to stay out of his country's domestic affairs as prominent Republicans offered support for the protest. This is it at its worst. Look at that insanity. Oh my God. Oh, you hogs. Look at the bridge. Imagine trying to merge. How do you... This is what I mean about like how they've imprisoned themselves in their own culture. This seems like the worst protest you could ever possibly be in. At least in a normal protest, you can mill about, you can hear different things, you can go around. The only thing these folks have is their phone and Zello, like just listening, being stuck and sitting for ungodly amounts of hours. Raise your hand if you like sitting in traffic. It's like an insult that I hear now, like, yo, you go sit in traffic, right? Like something you say to someone when you want to be polite and rude at the same time. And like these people are choosing to do it, like just hanging out in that so much weight. No, they're designed for that. Like bridges are designed for like 10 times, you know what I mean? Detroit don't play with AstroTurf. Yo, I believe you, Jack Straw. That sounds about right. Jim, I can see long-term American companies who rely on JIT deliveries from Canadian suppliers shifting to a domestic supply chain in order to avoid this ever happening again. Yeah, you destroy trust. Good Lord, that's a full bridge. Yeah, exactly. it's extremely stressful. Yeah, these people are doing things that are like, everyone who thinks about safety is just like, what are you doing? Yeah, Jim, I think if you really dig into how you can become like, this happens to every culture. Like, there's trappings of culture, and it's like an exchange, right? Like, you can still, like, imagine being Catholic right now. You might be really reinvigorated by the community of the church or the beliefs in the Bible, but you also got that cultural trapping of, all the child diddling, all that stuff. So yeah, this stream is so NPC, non-playable character. They have CB and VHF. I don't know what CB and VHF. So many acronyms. So many acronyms. Ram Ranch. Oh my God, what's Ram Ranch? Okay, this is where things get a little odd. About 100 convoy trucks in downtown Ottawa have children living inside. Whoa. Freedom pour nos enfants, tabernacle. It's amazing. Victory over fear, brother. All right. Ottawa police say, yeah, basically. I've been told that is making fun of autistic people, but I always thought it was something that right-wing people did when they didn't like an argument. Like, it just meant the argument's over, so I'm just screaming over you. Does anyone have any confirmation on that? Like, I've been trying to stop using because someone is like, yeah, by the way, didn't you know it's actually really offensive to autistic people? I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? This is like a super common term. Like, what are you talking about? But the internet is, brain dead, so it's totally possible. Ottawa police say about a quarter of vehicles parked in downtown Ottawa as part of the trucker protests have children living in them, and authorities are worried for their safety. Sounds good. Deputy Chief Steve Bell told reporters Tuesday that 25% of the more than 400 trucks occupying the downtown core have children living inside. This is a family affair, buddy. Child Protective Service. Ram Ranch. Yeah, you want some ranch? Word up, bird up. Okay. I think came from 4chan. I think so, right? Old Raven Farm. And it would make sense as like, if it was coming from 4chan, that it was dunking on autistic people. I would imagine that. Badger and Burnmouth fan says is what lefties do. It's what everybody does. It's like the I am done talking. I only have dinosaur noises for you. It means cope normie. Yeah, okay. I thought we had copium for that. It's something that greatly concerns us. From the risk of carbon monoxide and fumes to noise levels, we're concerned about cold, we're concerned about access to sanitation, the ability to shower. Bell said it's something police need to address, and they're having discussions with the Children's Aid Society about what steps to take. Quote, we're not at the stage of looking to do any sort of enforcement activity around that, Bell added. We'll rely on the Children's Aid Society to give us guidance around that, because Children's Aid Society have so much expertise going into a trucker convoy and assessing the living conditions. I mean, actually probably can assess the living conditions pretty well. So where's your kitchen? Your stream is getting brigaded by like 3 Canadian boomers. Bruh, you should have seen it in the first days, Jack. I had someone so unhinged, they changed their own PFP to mine and their name to mine to try to like troll the chat and saying like, I love Hitler and stuff like that. It was like, oh my God, dude, like just get a life. What are you doing, man? It's so much work. All right, cool. I'll see you later, BT. Have a good one. I went looking. That seems to be relatively informative. Yeah. The presence of children isn't this thing right here, out of the loop. Okay, cool. I'll check that out after. Thank you very much, Loud Tyrant Youth. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, there's kids in trucks. What about the kids in cabin? What about the kids in cabs, Joe? Huh, Joe? What about the kids in the cabs? Meet the extremists and social media influencers at the center of the far-right siege of Ottawa. Who is really behind the far-right occupation of Canada's national capital? Now, this is press progress, so these words come with extreme weight. This is literally our premier investigative body. I think like National Review is one of the only other heavy hitters at that level. This isn't CBC. This isn't like CTV or anything. This is like fucking serious journalists. Portland Andy. Ottawa is under siege, but who is really behind the occupation? The siege began as a so-called freedom convoy of truckers disgruntled about public health rules for those crossing the U.S.-Canada border, or so Canadians were told. And to be clear, like I've been coming to this conclusion through like Twitter sources, and I'm happy to find like an actual proper like investigative piece. So we're gonna get into it. They are messed up. Yeah, man. Canada first? Okay, yeah, this is going to get interesting. The fact remains 90% of Canadian truckers are vaccinated, and the rules being protested only impact a small minority of truckers that do regular cross-border routes. Yes, we know that. Canada's trucking industry has been vocal in disavowing the convoy well before they arrived in Ottawa as their extremism became clear. More on that later. We got some very funny, let's say, walkbacks, like egg on face. Hey, one more question. Do you enjoy it when you're... okay, that's a ban. I'll see you later, BT. Or I'll put you in a timeout. Let's see if you can grow up in like 5 minutes. I doubt it, but you got one last shot, BT, because you're contributing nothing. There's also discussion about it being, so I might be right on that. Okay, I think that's enough reason just to kind of not like meme about it or whatever, because it's like a common meme I've seen. It's pretty common to use. While some, like Conservative leadership candidate Pierre Poilievre, have sought to downplay extremist elements within the protests as just a few bad apples, many of the group's organizers and participants are drawn from the same old cast of characters. And what's their link for that? Okay, yeah. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, come on. Oh my God, there's so much of it. Bill Gates believes we're overpopulated and wants to save you with his vaccine. Bill Gates' vaccine patent is 060606. Mark of the devil. Wake up, sheeple. Wake up, sheeple. Vaccine mandates violate boundary autonomy. Oh my God. This is the problem when people say it's just a few bad apples. Just like there's so many images that come out. I honestly can't believe how badly Canadian media has failed when it comes to highlighting the extreme views held by the leadership. Yeah, that's why I'm like, this is one of the few like print journalism and even like mainstream media hasn't really been covering it. The fucking liberal media. I think this is just because they've been downsizing. They've been losing so hard. They've lost all their investigative journalists. Like everyone's going online. People are getting their news from Twitter instead of like print media. And so they don't have the funds. I was talking about that earlier when CTV just had like a still shot of a crowd. And just like, wow, you guys have like less funds than like some YouTuber down the block. The extremists. Oh, anyways, people who don't believe these people are extreme, we're just going to listen to them in their own words. Like that's usually the quickest and easiest way to figure it out. The Freedom Convoy was originally organized by a group called Canada Unity, which was founded by a man named James Bowder. Bowder is linked to far-right Yellow Vest groups and has harassed picketing oil refinery workers. Now, the Yellow Vest movement wasn't originally far-right. In France, it was very much a labor rights movement and remained as such for the entirety of its virality, let's say. But in Canada, it was very specifically far-right from all the reporting I've seen. Bowder is an author of the Convoy's Memorandum of Understanding, which we'll get to later, that calls for overthrowing Canada's democratic government and replacing it with an unelected junta consisting of convoy leaders, the Senate, and the Governor General. Well, golly gee, that sounds normal insane after an election. Other top organizers include Benjamin Dichter, BJ Dichter. I figured that out myself just by going to the bloody original GoFundMe page. A failed conservative and People's Party candidate, interesting, who recently stated he welcomes the Confederate flag in Ottawa, as well as Pat King. And we know lots about Pat King, a far-right figure who previously broadcasted rants about the depopulation of the Caucasian race and suggested the only way the convoy to Ottawa would be solved is with bullets.
Trudeau, someone's going to make you catch a bullet one day.
Oh!
To the rest of this government, someone's going to fucking do yous in. You sons of bitches.
The only way that, and I'm going to say it out loud, the only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets.
Oh.
And yeah, I said it. That's the only way something's going to happen. A massive revolution on a huge scale.
You might want to change your name to Ishmael, or drop a bunch of change down the stairs and call yourself Chong Ching Ching Chang.
Yikes! Sorry. Oh my God! No! I can be like literally can't even watch this stuff. Oh my God! It's like literally TOS. Jesus. Sorry for the hate speech. One of the most visible political figures during the siege has been Randy Hillier, an independent And yeah, I don't know if these are red flags, but like flags so like on fire. It's like, it's like they're not flags. They have yeah. Okay, I'm not going to make the joke. I'll just continue reading. One of the most visible political figures during the siege has been Randy Hillier, an independent Ontario member of provincial parliament who was kicked out of Doug Ford's party a few years ago. Hillier is getting ready to run under his newly created Ontario First Party in this spring's election. Over the weekend, while standing on the steps of Parliament Hill, Hillier delivered a dangerous speech that likened the convoy struggle to that of Canadian soldiers fighting at Vimy Ridge. This is news to me. He then told his supporters, "This is the hill we die on."
I've never heard that excuse. Is that the hill you want to die on? Anybody ever hear that? We hear it in politics all the time. You don't want to die on that hill. But I'm telling everybody, and I'm telling that coward in the college, this is the hill we die on.
This is the hill we die on. We're going to watch that again. The latest Pat King video is gold. Okay, I'll pull it up soon. Especially if he's just admitting defeat. One thing I learned, because I love like ancient military history, I'm such a fucking nerd. So that phrase, "this is the hill we die on." So the reason that's a phrase that we still use today is because back in the old times, like ancient Rome, the logic was that if you were at the top of the hill, you had a serious advantage because you have the weight of gravity. You're like literally fighting hand to hand. You striking down is a lot easier than striking up, just like physically and balance wise. It's easier to trip and fall back rather than like lean into the opponent's force. So almost always you wanted to control a hill because hills allowed you good vision, gave you a good way to defend yourself. However, if you get surrounded, the hill is not good anymore. And that's where the phrase came from. It was this idea that even like just because something is good, like a hill, doesn't mean it stays good forever. It can become the hill you die on. If you like cling to it so desperately, you allow yourself to be surrounded, in which case your advantage of like gravity going downhill doesn't matter because you can't have formations when people are getting attacked from behind. And forming like a ring, like that's just not going to work. It's just straight up not. You're going to have absolute chaos and incoherence. So that's where that phrase comes from. This is the hill we die on. It's about being so arrogant to think that something that is normally an advantage is at the disadvantage it really is. And that really speaks to this movement. Everybody's using the hill, which is public protest, the right of free assembly, the rights that we have to help govern society, and they're going to die on that hill because they don't realize the rest of the silent majority is sort of like surrounding them rhetorically and being like, yo, like you painted yourself into a corner. Okay, these metaphors are getting bad. They're painting the hill. Hillier appears to be leveraging connections from No More Lockdowns, a group he founded in response to COVID-19 public health restrictions. The group's corporate records list his daughter, Chelsea Hillier, a failed People's Party candidate, as the for-profit company's sole proprietor. Man, I'm sensing a theme with all these people who have failed in political realms. Very interesting. In fact, Randy Hillier has played a key role communicating and coordinating with a network of drivers of large industrial and agricultural vehicles that have clogged up Ottawa streets, often using encrypted social media apps like Telegram. Other top organizers include individuals with police and military backgrounds, which may help explain their unusual strategies and tactics, including the establishment of elaborate bases and supply lines. Called it. Told you this looked like a fucking military action. Holy shit, right? Supply lines, entrenchment, holding the line. Like, right from the first couple days, I'm like, man, they're behaving like an occupying force, less so than protesters. I mean, besides like the large moderate, there's definitely like a large populist base that's whipped up and following along that are probably pretty all right people just going to party, to be clear. One such organizer, Tom Quiggin, is a former RCMP and intelligence officer and taught at the Royal Military College. Quiggin has spoken at events hosted by the far-right Manning Center, where he falsely claimed the Quebec City mosque targeted by a far-right terrorist in 2017 was itself helping terrorists. Oh geez, Quiggin seems like a pretty bad guy. This seems like an Islamophobe. Oh geez. Man, how can you not have sympathy for Muslims in our country? They get so much fucking hate. It's insane, man, especially in Quebec. Oh my God. Others involved with the occupation have long ties to protests against various public health measures during the COVID-19 pandemic. Henry Hildebrandt, a doomsday preacher from Aylmer, Ontario, is a close ally of Hillier and his No More Lockdowns group. In an interview with CTV's W5, the pastor of Aylmer's Church of God stated he believes the support he was receiving opposing COVID-19 public health measures are the fulfillment of an apocalyptic prophecy and a sign that the end is coming. Sounds normal. Hildebrandt was filmed pleading with a police tactical unit that raided one of the protesters' illegal logistics camps set up at Ottawa's baseball stadium.
God help that you could just switch sides and recognize what's going on.
Oh yeah.
People, think about what's happening in this country.
We watch this live.
Sir, look at me in the eye. Look at me in the eye. Your little ones need to be protected. God, open your eyes, sir. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Okay, he's just like
Stand up for your freedom, sir. Stand up for your freedom, sir. Stand up for your freedom. Stand on the right side of history.
Oh, film.
How's your mom feel about it?
That's an accurate way to put it. He was pleading with him. What else is there? There's some. Oh man. Okay, there's some interesting stuff coming up. The Line was one of the first anti-public health groups that organized protests in opposition to COVID-19 measures in April 2020. That group's leader, Lamont Daigel, was filming videos inside his car in Ottawa. Vladislav Sobolev, whose anti-mask group Hugs Over Masks received media attention earlier in the pandemic, was also spotted on Parliament Hill. Nadine Ness, the leader of a group with links to far-right conspiracies called Unified Grassroots, is in Ottawa too. Ness's group, which opposes, had a long phone call with the Saskatchewan Premier, Scott Moe, in December. Another one is Chris Sky, who recently had a warrant issued for his arrest in connection to an incident where he led an angry unmasked mob into a West Edmonton Mall toy store and reportedly turned himself into police a few days later. In Ottawa, Sky posted a TikTok video showing himself amid a hostile mob that was charging at police, forcing them to fall back from a position near Parliament Hill.
Back up, let's go!
Whoa.
Hold the line, buddy! Hold the fucking line, buddy!
Yeah, we're gonna stop using that.
You're a fucking bitch without that. You know it.
Yamaro. Yamaro. Yikes. The people pushing back. Look at these police. They're showing their backs. What kind of police force is this? I've never seen police act like this. What the fuck? That's how you're supposed to do it?
Look, they're scared. They're backing up.
I cannot believe this.
That's right.
That is insane to me.
That's right.
It's not even that many people. It's not even that dense.
People.
It's like 2 to 1. What do I know about police tactics? Okay, so we're going to take a short break on the investigative journalism to get into the very tangled politics, because a Liberal MP has broken ranks over the pandemic policies. He spoke out against Trudeau and provincial government's pandemic policies and politicians' handling of the ongoing trucker convoy protests. Joël Lightbound, the Louis Hébert Quebec MP, held a press conference. Okay, let's see if we can just watch his press conference. Joël Lightbound. Just go like this. Press conference. Probably this one. Show me the video. YouTube are blocking the live feeds. It's a bit too early, Turbo Turd. Early in the morning, Canadians just haven't woken up, haven't had their coffees or whatever. And we've seen this rhythm all in the past week of watching them. The other reason that might happen is the individuals themselves might be asked by police to leave because the police don't want live streams of police actions. It's kind of like a massive security risk or like tactical failure if you're just like broadcasting your movements to the public, right? The governments who are caving to these people have just established the new way that policies will be made. This is not good. This is mob rule. Yeah, Jim, there's, I think, an opinion in the Globe and Mail saying exactly that. Like, yo, rule of law. What the fuck is this mob rule bullshit?
We are therefore calling on all levels of government in Canada to end all COVID mandates and restrictions. We will continue our protest until we see a clear plan for their elimination.
There's a lot of hand-wringing going on all across Canada right now as some people say what is to be done about the Freedom Convoy, which is now hunkered down for two straight weekends. The days, they continue to elapse, and there seems to be no sign of this.
For analysis. We don't need that. Okay, but anyways, he said, I've heard from hundreds of constituents and citizens who took the time to reach out to me these past weeks, folks who have nothing to do with these demonstrations, who are for the most part vaccinated, who have done everything as they should these last 2 years. He thinks political leaders have failed at explaining to Canadians the rationale for continued public health measures, citing the vaccine mandate for cross-border truckers as the latest example. Most people I talk to know that it's about protecting the hospitals. They've been banging that drum for years. I fear that this politicization of the pandemic risks undermining the public's trust in our public health institutions. This is not a risk we ought to be taking lightly. Said he was uncomfortable with the politicization of vaccine mandates during the last federal election, but buddy, who's politicizing the vaccine right now? But things began to really shift for him with the onset of the Omicron variant, and it reached a point where he felt it necessary to share his perspective. Mandates are the way to avoid further restrictions. As Canadians have gotten vaccinated, we've been able to get through things, and this team is going to stay focused on doing exactly that, Trudeau said. I don't know, man. I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is. It's saying they're not blocking the live feeds. Turbo Turd, do you have any evidence that they are blocking the live feeds? I mean, it's literally 8 in the morning. How many people do you think are out and awake, have put in all their clothes, have had their coffee, done their breakfast, checked their equipment, make sure that the live stream's going to go, made sure they've added up a new title? Like, this stuff takes prep, and you just don't walk out with a camera and just press live. Like, there's actually like quite a bit of setup, especially if you're like trying to bring a consistent product to the audience like me. All right, we're moving on. Here we're starting to see the political winds shift.
Of those public health measures begins tonight. Jason Kenney says while they're looking to other jurisdictions, the plan is based on data from Alberta. The restrictions exemption program will be lifted at midnight, along with most of the restrictions that come with it.
Now, from what I understand, like a lot of provinces are lifting their restrictions. There's like this is kind of what happened last year. After the winter, like things start to thaw. Like we got through like the hardest, like the 2 weeks after Christmas are usually like the peak, or I think it was last year. So now these protesters can all claim victory. But I think what's also happening is that Kenny is sort of leaning into it so he can throw some red meat to his base and be like, yo, look, I got rid of the vaccine system. We're free, everybody. Everybody's free to infect one another without any transparency as to how that infection is spreading through society. Hooey! And Saskatchewan also does it. Ends the COVID passport mask requirements. This is a particularly disgusting thing that Premier Scott Moe has said. I think it's one of the more racist things I've come across in the past little while. Premier Scott Moe says providing proof of vaccination to enter businesses has created 2 classes of citizens. Only a white boy could say that. Only a white person wholly ignorant of the history of his own province could say something so crass and inhumane and ridiculously dumb. Yo, what about Indigenous folk, my guy? Have you completely forgotten our history? Have you just like absolutely failed grade 9 like history class? Yo. Johnny Mnemonic on Twitter has the Pat King. Cool. Thanks, Old Raven. I'll check that out once we have a vid to distract us. Speaking of video, here we go. The cops told me the cans could be filled with water, so they aren't doing anything. They aren't. This is people filling up their shit. This was like yesterday, February 7th, 2 days ago. those truckers are crunching the government.
This is the way it has to be done. I'll fill every freaking empty dairy can for you. What do you guys?
This is pretty frustrating. I love that how many of these people who are like truckers are just like people who have F-150 trucks. Like, my guy, you're not a trucker. You are not a trucker, let me tell you. One person yelling into a megaphone asks, "What you gonna do when we have all jerry cans? Huh?"
Come on, Jerry. Freedom can. You can. You got it. Has anybody seen the Prime Minister?
Yeah, he delivered comments in the House of Commons just the other day. We'll watch that later.
Some jerry cans to Mr. Trudeau. Come on, Jerry. Freedom can.
Freedom.
You can. You got it. Has anybody seen the Prime Minister? Like to bring some jerry cans to Mr. Trudeau. Come on, Jerry. Freedom can.
I just want to point out this Johnny Meme-Nautic has 0 followers. It's a pretty odd source. Like, you don't even follow this person? A little confused.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the shit show.
All right, buddy.
We'll
don't
let
say
a
anything
couple
racist, so I don't get TOS.
We'll get in here, but I just want to bring up some information to the great.
Would you admit YouTube shadow ban, delete comments? Yeah, absolutely. Well, Turbo Turd, I'm just going to be super transparent here. When you put something on, when you comment on my YouTube, I have to approve it, right? So there's an entire reality where moderation is happening at the creator level, where I'm just like choosing which comments to allow and which to disallow. Now I allow pretty much everything, even the ones that roast me, especially if it makes me laugh. But I'm pretty sure that there's probably like a shadow ban system. I don't understand why there wouldn't be. Like, what, you just want a system where anybody and everybody can just go around hate criming on each other? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is just it's not racist, just cringy. That's awesome. It's awesome, Lord Raven. Thanks for the link.
Country, Canada, and the great country that we live in.
Yeah, Cal, we checked that out.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
and bees,
and people all around the world. You want to know what kind of political overreach our government has? I'm going to tell you. So, I email...
Cal, make sure you spell weird the correct way in this chat. There's only one way to spell weird in this chat. Weird. It's like they're always a step ahead. Those dirty truckers just can't be stopped. Well, yeah, there's that interesting bit from Press Progress about like military and law enforcement background. So that might be part of why they're so slippery.
Money transfer, truck drivers money, people money, so that they can put fuel in their vehicles. They can pay for their hotel rooms. They can put food in their bellies. I've been helping everybody that I can with what I've got. But now our government of Canada has just now gone ahead and eliminated my bank account for any option to receive or send
they froze his funds.
Email money transfers. The government of Canada has just infiltrated my bank account.
Stop breaking the law, asshole.
They have eliminated any option for me to send emails.
Wait, what?
And receive emails.
That's not even possible, my guy. What are you talking about?
Does that not sound like a government overreach? So, ladies and gentlemen, to the truckers out there, this is the message for you.
They got my Pat King at bing.ca. My Yahoo account.
If you need money, and you need money from me.
Yeah, where's the money, Pat? Where's the money?
Please message me via text and tell me how much money you need.
Thanks, Cal.
Because I can still go pull it out of the bank. So I will be pulling money out of the bank and coming and bringing you cash. All right?
Packing at Freedom Truckers 99 dot Eagle News.
So that's what we're going to do.
So I did check this Peking guy out, and he is racist for sure. But I heard the trucker convoy denounced him. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, but the problem is this has 500,000 views, so doesn't seem like a whole lot of denouncing is going on. This guy seems to very much still have a robust following of people who are, let's say, 39,000 people liked this. 17,000 loved it. So that's 40 plus. So that's like 55 of the 70. So more than half like this of the 500,000 views. Just to put that out there.
We're gonna.
I mean, 500,000 is substantial. And also, why was he part of the leadership? I mean, there's absolutely a split between like leadership and like the rank and file. And that's very much what I mean by being trapped by your own culture. You can find yourself wrapped up in the in-group, in the culture, and not know how to distance yourself from the people leading the culture. And I think that's the key problem for conservatives right now. They have to figure that problem out immediately, or else their culture will continue to get hijacked by ne'er-do-wells, by shitty people like Pat King. And the reason it's so easily hijacked is because they're just not being critical about their own culture. They're just allowing any buzzword to rile them up and let them follow. And so it's hard to be like, yeah, it's just this odd guy. But if leader after leader after leader is like unhinged, like Maxime Bernier, then people stop believing it's a problem. Stop believing it's a problem with the leaders. Start believing it's a problem with the culture.
Bring you the cash instead.
Yes, you're right, Cal. It is a fringe minority, but the fringe minority understands where the culture is more than the normie conservative. My father, who is dyed-in-the-wool conservative, would denounce Pat King and probably would feel very uncomfortable. He's very much like a Scheer type, a Aaron O'Toole type, and those are the normies in the conservative parties. But the culture is being led by the fringe minority, by the rads, by the radicals. So, yeah, no worries. You can make all sorts of mistakes. I make them too.
You see, they can seize GoFundMes. They can do whatever they want on that end of it.
You broke TOS.
But they cannot seize my private personal bank account.
Sure they can.
So what I'm doing now is I have spoke to my bank. My bank 110% supports what we are doing. My bank is Alberta Treasury Branch. It is an only Alberta-owned bank system.
It's a publicly owned. The guy who wants to overthrow the government has a bank account with the government.
It is Alberta run and Alberta owned. It is not on the federal.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Reserve. The banking.
Oh, it's because it's not on the Fed Reserve. Oh, there you go. There you go. Buddy, are they dollary dues?
System that I use is for a reason. So that the government can't have any overreach into my bank account.
You mean the besides the other government that owns it, that literally owns it? Amazing.
Now,
amazing.
The government of Canada, give me your phone number that I have to send the lawyer to.
That's not how this works.
There you go. I'm losing. Look, I'm losing. I'm going down to 21 people. Now they're shutting down to 4 people.
Oh no.
I have nobody in my life anymore.
People aren't giving him attention. That means Facebook and the liberal elite are shutting down the YouTubers.
I have nobody in my life anymore.
Is there still people there? Give them the thumbs up.
Yeah, there's still people here, but my whole...
I don't know if anyone's being led at this point, just a bunch of followers with their own agendas. The idolization is present for sure. I think this is true, Cal, of any movement. With any movement, you're going to find a variety of groups with different leaders. And the hope is that those individual groups have good leadership. And each group sends forward their leaders, and then you have like your speakers. And then you get a nice range of ideas that sort of like give detail to the singular cause that everyone came to. So like a lot of people, for instance, went on into the streets for BLM, but like like black folk might have had a very different perspective than indigenous folk or white folk, and speaking from those different perspectives lends detail to the broader coalition. And so that's kind of true of any movement. The problem with the Conservatives is that, like, the small groups, like let's say the small far right group that has been doing a lot of the organizing and leading, a lot of people are following them uncritically, and so they're now having to distance themselves once the news is broken out about how bad these people are. Once the supercuts get done, all the quotes get found, investigative journalists do their job, the slow work, and then the people who don't want to do that work of distancing themselves are now stuck in this very adversarial relationship, saying, no, packing is fine, you know, how dare you, you just want to shut down conservative voices, you know, you have to dig your heels in.
Whole Facebook just went from 1,000 people down to nobody. There's nobody in my live feed.
No one likes complaining. No one likes listening to a streamer talk about their views. Guys, I only have like 11 people watching me and like 6 likes, you guys. It's so unfair. I've been working at this for like, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So the government of Canada, you just started one hell of a lawsuit.
Oh yeah. He's going to win.
I'm not pissed. I'm laughing, actually. That's how nervous they're going to do. How nervous they're going to be.
He seems pretty nervous.
So they even went as far as shutting down my live feed and not allowing people to see how many people are in it.
Again, I cannot stress enough how hilariously similar this video is to that song, like Instagram gods. I think, is this it? No, song, Don Jr. Yeah, this song. Oh my God.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Just watching my algorithms get crushed. I guess I did something to piss off the Instagram gods, so hopefully you're seeing this stuff anyway. We'll do what we can.
This is my message to the Instagram gods, crushing Don Jr.'s algorithm. Yeah, you've been caught. You think this actual 10-second clip of him attempting to face the camera toward him is worth only 250,000 views? How dare you? How dare you? Pictures of Don Jr. above my bed, and now every night I fall asleep with him in my head. I dream he takes me to the skate park and teaches me how to ride. I dream he let me do the monkey bars while holding on to my sides. I dream that fell off my skateboard and he gave me a bandage. I dreamed I was hungry and he made me a sandwich. I dreamed we stayed up all night learning TikTok dances with Ron DeSantis. I dreamed we hunted Hunter Biden, shoved him in a locker, asked him how it felt to just be known for his famous father. Isn't it pathetic, oh, isn't it a shame to have no remnant of identity outside your father's name? When you look down at your hands, uncalloused and cold, can't you see all that you hold has been handed to you? And does that make you feel small, Hunter? Do you ever look back at your life and sob? 38 years in your younger sister's shadow, crying, Daddy, please love me. Daddy, please see me. Dad, won't you love me? Dad, can't you see me? Daddy, please love me. Daddy, please see me. Dad, won't you love me? Dad, can't you see me? We pulled him out of the locker and we gave him a swirly. My alarm went off and then I voted early, so should you.
Yeah, that's what that song, that's what I'm reminded of when I watch this. It's literally sitting at 500,000 views. Bring silence by the liberal media.
So I'm getting on the phone with a lawyer right now, and we will be filing some sort of paperwork to the government of Canada here right away.
We got our own Canadian version of Chuds. Oh my god.
Oh, look, we got one.
It's like our own Don Jr.
One person. We got one person in.
The only concept I can get behind in this movement is the choice to say no to big pharma without being banned from participating in society. We need to learn how to live in endemic now. Cal, I understand why you're frustrated with big pharma. Like on one side of it, they did the opium crisis and continue to like harm lots of people through like opioids and especially like through the American medical system. But big pharma is also where we got the vaccine. So it's not like a very, like if you just say big pharma bad, it's like saying what is it, NGO, or what is it, GMOs are bad. And it's just like, life's a bit more complicated than these very, straightforward, overly simplistic things, right? Like big pharma is like where very smart scientists, the ones who sort of lead the future, the ones who develop the mRNA vaccine, for instance, like that's just kind of the industry. So they go into it, and that's where they work. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like it's expensive to do 5-year high risk, high reward drug patents. It's just a high risk, high reward. So it tends to become like conglomerated, and also capitalism, just fucking capitalism. I will listen to doctors, not CEOs in government. Yeah, like I get that, Old Raven. I think like one of the major failures of modern medicine that like could maybe learn from homeopathy is that bedside manner. Like homeopathy is really good at having like an individualistic practice that makes people feel like their concerns are being heard, and that like shows benefits for people's recovery. And modern medicine is just like so much of an industrialized model that humans don't get that effect, that bedside manner. And it's no like shot against doctors. They just have like a stressed out like working conditions. It's just really hard for them.
One person.
One person on your
One
life?
person on my life.
Oh, you're not popular?
It's proven not to work now. Wait, what? No, the vaccines have all been incredibly successful, like over 90% success rate. Vaccines don't rarely even get as high as like over 90% success rate. So the ones that we've been using have been so successful, people are starting to look into mRNA vaccines for all sorts of illnesses because they're like, holy shit, this method works? Oh my God, what else could we fix,
Look. Oh, we got.
Yeah, Cal, again, the vaccines do not prevent you from getting COVID. Cannot shout this louder enough. The vaccines inform your immune system so it knows how to identify COVID and respond to it with tools at its disposal. You will never, there's no such thing as a vaccine that just like, I mean, it happens, but you usually have to get to herd immunity, or you usually have to have generations of people immunized. It's pretty rare, especially for something as contagious as like Omicron and stuff like that. So I'm thinking if you take vaccines every 6 months, that means it does not work. You just misunderstand. So like, think of it this way. Your body has to defend itself against all sorts of random shit all the time. And it doesn't know what next is going to do massive damage, like what the next exploit is. And remember that this virus originated in a place that I myself never could go. Like I'm not flying over to China or other places that this might have originated. So there's no way for my immune system to know that it's out in the wild, right? Until I get it. And unfortunately, this new variation is like so well equipped that when you get it the first time, if your immune system has no information, you get wrecked. You get hospitalized. You risk death. And this is what we see in time and time again in America. This is like very, very clear if you read any of the public data, any of the scientific information. However, if you go and get a vaccine, your body has some information. It can sort of identify this stuff, send out like an immune system response. But over time, your body goes, well, I guess I didn't see that again in the wild. It must not be that important. So it stops producing like the antibodies. They wane over time. I'm not a doctor. This is just a layman's understanding. And so people have to get their boosters if the exploit that the virus is using continues to be used. And so we just have to continue. This is why we had yearly flu shots, like literally no joke. This is why the yearly flu shot is a thing. So people saying like, oh, like how can you get the vaccine and still get it? It's just like, okay, learn more about immunology. Why do we have to get so many shots over and over and over again? Learn more about immunology. And to be fair, immunology is quite literally like one of the most complex fields out there. And yeah, Alberta Suave, this is obviously not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm a fucking layman. And so this is just my understanding from reading scientific articles and news articles and stuff like that. It's okay for the public to discuss medical affairs, but we shouldn't be like giving each other advice on what to do, right? That's all I'm saying. I think you should go and get a vaccine, but that's just me making a moral call. I just think that's a morally righteous thing. It's not health advice. Yeah.
Got to.
Okay, Cal. I'm gonna encourage. Most of them were not vaccinated and ended up surviving fine, but no hospitalizations. Yeah, don't try. I think how it's said is like anecdotal evidence is some of the weakest forms of evidence. Like, what is it? Like data is the plural of anecdote. You need to do that over and over and over again with thousands of people to get a better idea. And that's usually what science is doing. It's just like casting a wider net than your classroom.
2-4. Now we're up to 4
Man,
people.
you're getting more popular, bro.
Yeah, you're getting popular by the day. No, don't. I've got the money. I've got money.
Oh, I see. If you've gotten it, you have the immunity. I don't know. I honestly don't know how that plays. I think that's an interesting like question to raise. I don't know. I still don't understand why you wouldn't, right? Like it's still like extra protection, right? It's just like a Kevlar vest or whatever. Just like, oh yeah, I survived a gun wound before, so I can take another shot. And it's like, wait, no, that's not how any of this works. You're still getting hurt, right? Like you're still damaging your system. You still have to do an immune system response. You take the Kevlar. So this is James Bowder. We were covering him earlier. We can see just how unhinged this dude is. You can see Soros popping up, Wuhan lab, the Wuhan flu, Bill Gates sells the miracle. So here we go. This is the globalists. This is it. This is how crazy this is from 2020 though. So this is a little while ago. But yeah, he's pretty out there. One of the organizers is just like, sheesh. So not everyone needs a COVID vaccine. That's not the only way out. Right. But again, you run a huge risk. It's risk reduction. It's just about risk reduction. That's it. Like, yeah, sure, you can survive a car accident without a seatbelt, but you probably do better with the seatbelt. And we want less people to be getting hurt in car accidents, even though car accidents aren't contagious. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, here, take this. It's dangerous out there. Like the Zelda meme, It's like all it is. That's all it is. Just like, fuck. People spend their entire lives dedicated to this to give you something that helps you. And people are like, I don't know. What's in it for you? I'm just like, fuck, man. Convoy to Ottawa 2022. We researched some of the biggest Facebook groups promoting the Canadian trucker protest before they were shut down yesterday. And noticed something was a bit off. The only individual admin running some of the most active groups was one woman in Missouri, or so it seemed. The woman's years-old Facebook account had no real history of political activity until January 2022, when it suddenly posted a fundraiser for Donald Trump. Below the post was a comment from the woman's daughter, quote, I like how you hacked my mom's shit, but you won't answer my DM. You stupid B-word. I called the woman on her publicly listed number and she said her account had been hacked. The stolen account was administering a collection of Facebook groups started between January 26th and January 28th that had amassed more than 300,000 followers that had 7,500 posts. And I looked into the role of disinformation. Twice Anya, Benjamin O. Powers, and Steve Riley looked into the role of disinformation, social media, and suspicious online activity are playing in the event unloading. So that's an interesting one. This is kind of like why people are digging in, right? Like there's like kind of like odd stuff popping up. Yes, Alberto, I am a shit doctor. I don't claim to be a doctor. That's insane. It's insane. We're just talking here. What I'm saying is people have been coerced into taking a shot that it does work, Cal. It does work. It just does. It's like 95, like go read the studies. Stop saying it may or may not. You're just saying you haven't run the studies and you're hiding. Like what is it? Like just because you don't know something doesn't make it not true, right? Like just because you might think the planets are aligned in a nice tight row doesn't mean it's true. Trump lives rent-free in your head. Trump tried to overthrow the U.S. government, and he continues to wage a campaign of delegitimizing democracy in America. And as someone who is pro-democracy, Trump absolutely lives rent-free in my head. Yeah, for sure. We can all live together without divider passports. No, we can't, Cal, as we've seen. Just the very basic request for people to wear a mask, one of the lowest costs and one of the highest gains in safety. Like literally, you could not imagine a simpler thing to ask people to do that has massive effects in terms of safety, especially indoors. Outdoors, not so much, but indoors, absolutely. And people still refuse to do it. So there's old ideas about society being like this unwieldy force that like government has to come in and like force people to like come together, or else people are just going to kind of become chaotic and fight one another. So that's kind of why like people are using law in order to coerce people, because even the most basic of requests is not being respected. Here's the deal. Somebody can get COVID with the vaccines, but they need a passport to get in somewhere, but they can still go places if they have COVID. Then I don't understand that comment. Does not work if you still get COVID. I'll come back to that. Tell me, where is polio? Polio is mostly eradicated because of decades upon decades of consistent herd immunity. Canada is actually one of the few countries that actually is kind of close to herd immunity. We're actually one of the few countries that might actually stamp it out, but nope, not going to happen. No passport in Alberta. Yeah, we covered that this morning. And no passport in Saskatoon. Absolutely, Alberta. That just happened. The premiers are throwing red meat to their base. And Scott Moe said one of the more racist things I've said or have heard in the past week, saying that the passports, the public health mandates, were creating a two-tier citizenship, absolutely whitewashing the history Indigenous people have had in that province. And I'll just keep on hammering on that point because it was absolutely disgusting and atrocious for a public servant to be that deeply ignorant about his own province's history. It's like insane to me. It's insane to me that he said that without a single like ounce of like hesitation or whatever. I see you've been misled by the legacy media. Yeah, I'm definitely on grid.news being misled by the legacy media, and Justin Ling on Twitter. Yeah, this is definitely legacy media stuff. Sorry, we read from the premier investigative journalists. I forgot that you hate journalists and journalism. Like, what the fuck you want? You're like, I love this take because people are like watching someone report hating on reporters, and it's like, why are you watching someone like, what do you want? Do you know what the word media means? Like, all right, okay, let's move on. The hacked account and suspicious donations behind the Canadian truckers' protests. Jumbo misinformation, online fundraising groups, and amplification, yada, yada, yada. Large Facebook groups administered through a stolen account. We dug into that a bit. Not organized by Canadian trucking unions. True. The largest of which has come out against the protests. Yeah, Old Raven, you're never ever going to convince them to look into data and actually read that shit. They just don't understand what. Like, I don't think any of them know what scholar.google.com is. I don't think they actually have ever been to scholar.google.com and searched anything whatsoever. I don't think they're the type. When Cal explains Pat King to me, I might be inclined to listen. Until then, not so much. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough, Jim. This guy has 0 friends. Actually, Alberto, I have a pretty robust support network. It's from years of dedicating myself to volunteering my time to build up a community of like-minded folk who express themselves. I'm actually one of the strongest free speech advocates you're going to find. I literally run a poetry slam where like you could go and like say what you feel. It's like one of the last vestiges of protest against fucking against power. So this is amazing. This is a news release, a notice of formal withdrawal of the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding by Canada Unity. Looks like their idea to overthrow the government with a junta isn't going over so well. It has come to the attention of Canada Unity that the Memorandum of Understanding, herein referred to as MOU, does not reflect the spirit and intent of the Freedom Convoy Movement 2022. We represent the voice of many Canadians who desire to have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms upheld. We are everyday Canadians, not lawyers or politicians. Amazing. Yes, Alberto, I'm absolutely Antifa. You do realize the passport is a social credit score, right? a two-tier society in itself, and one day you won't be able to get into a store unless you have the latest app with the latest booster shot. Cal, I think you fundamentally misunderstand what passports are. Almost all of our schools have had vaccination requirements for all children for decades. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We've had passports all. You can't drive a car without a friggin' license. Like, this is a normal part of society. This is a normal part of society that you have some sort of certification or validation when the public health is at risk. People driving cars without licenses puts the public health at risk, so you have to go out of your way to get the privilege to drive a car by proving to law enforcement that you have the skills to do so. Same thing with going to exercise your privileges to go to a church. You don't have the right to like go infect a bunch of people because you don't understand science. Straight up. Okay, so there's your answer. Cal doesn't like Pat King. I already said that he's a white supremacist. I think I can remember who was asking. Okay, I'm gonna start ignoring you, Alberto. But welcome to the stream. We are immediately withdrawing the MOU as we do not want any unintended interpretations to continue. Our sole desire with the MOU is to have a document where Canadians could peacefully express their displeasure with current C-19 mandates and express their desire to be free. Canada unity does not support or encourage any acts which tarnish democratic values held by Canadians, such as like the right to govern ourselves by voting in representatives, maybe. To the over 320,000 original signatories of the MOU, we appreciate your support and will continue to peacefully demonstrate until the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is upheld. This document was created with the sole purpose of bringing the Government of Canada and all citizens into agreement that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms should be upheld for all. All right, guys. Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, and like, just a reminder, just to really drive home the point of how low cost it is to wear a mask. The Canadian women's hockey team wore N95 masks and trounced the Russians. Absolutely trounced them. 6-1. Oh my God. So yeah, people who are like, I can't wear masks, like, you do not have a right to go to church. It's a tough one. Like, you have the right to freely exercise religion. Nobody's stopping you from that. You can read your Bible. The question is, do you have to get into a group with other people and sing a hymn in order to exercise your freedom of religion? And that's kind of where the right versus privilege gets really spicy. And you have to go into like legal court cases to find out how that plays. I don't know how it goes. But generally, I don't think you have a right to go to a church. Like, I don't understand what that right would be, because you can freely exercise being a Christian at home, reading your Bible. You could do a virtual church. Like, there are very acceptable accommodations. So yeah, I'm not too sure. What do you think, Sherpain? Alberto, I've read the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms several times. Yeah, that's why I can just cite it from memory. I would say they're just ignoring Pat King. We just saw a video where he had over 500,000 views, Cal. We live in a society. Sometimes you need to do things for the greater good. Yeah, we live in a society, Old Raven. It's literally the society meme. Like, oh my God, we live in a society. Yeah. Okay, here's Premier Jason Kenney saying that the stigma against unvaccinated people reminds him of the stigma for HIV/AIDS in the patients. A lot of people are pointing out that during the HIV/AIDS crisis, he, as a politician, was leading that stigma. Just want to be super clear that this man was stigmatizing HIV/AIDS patients in the 1980s, and now that he's the premier, he's using it as a way to throw red meat to the base. So both Jason Kenney and Scott Moe have said some pretty gross things in order to, while in the course of like speaking to their base. Curious how that keeps happening. Oh,
of safe and everybody should avail themselves of the protection of safe and effective vaccines, and that the choice not to get vaccinated is not just a personal.
It's so quiet, eh? Here, let's crank that up a bit.
Choice. It does have social consequences, but it's never okay to treat people like that, to stigmatize people in that way. In a way, it kind of reminds me of.
So you define my religion. No, sure, Payne. I'm saying that exercising your religion, if it is going to harm others, might be, you have to ask whether it's a privilege that you're exercising or a right. You should move to a communist country. You don't represent Canada. Okay, Alberto, that's a real good one. Pat King has many videos where he says they're trying to kill the white race because the white race is a special blood or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cal, that's exactly right. If you really go down this rabbit hole, it's the Great Replacement Theory. It's super racist and dumb, and a lot of white supremacists, specifically Lauren Southern, another Canadian, are spreading it wildly on Facebook and stuff. Yeah.
The attitudes that circulated.
Alberto, I don't think that the Conservatives can even maintain themselves as a single party. It would be amazing to see if they can even hang on to a leader longer than 18 months. Yo, Conservatives can't even keep a leader. Trudeau was seeing the backs of 3 motherfucking Conservatives. Get your shit together. I don't like Trudeau, and I need a real opposition party. And y'all are standing in the place of NDP, who could maybe be an opposition party like they were last time and did an all right job at it, I guess. But right now, Conservatives are failing miserably. Politically, I mean.
In North America, in the
culturally, they're doing great.
mid-1980s about people with HIV/AIDS.
Oh, there it is.
Attitudes that circulated in North America in the mid-1980s about people with HIV/AIDS.
Like you.
That there's this notion that they had to be kind of distanced for health reasons. Listen, this is a terribly divisive attitude. So yes, we encourage people to get vaccinated, but treating people who have made a different decision as though they are unwelcome as members of our society is not acceptable. Everybody should avail themselves of the protection of safe and effective vaccines, and that the choice not to get vaccinated is not just a personal choice. It does have social consequences, but it's never okay to treat people like that, to stigmatize people in that way. In a way, it kind of reminds me of the attitudes that circulate.
Sorry, I just can't even believe it. Really frustrating. NDP can't lead. Yeah, that's generally the consensus amongst left and right. It would be nice though if they could read. There's a huge progressive movement, especially in the younger generation, that is just like desperate for some sort of representation. I still agree we should not have to take big pharma to be in society. That's just a clear problem. I mean, yes and no. I mean, and when you say to be in society, are you talking about privileges or rights? Like, these are different things. I really want to get across that big pharma is not the same thing as a public health mandate. Big pharma produced vaccines that are so insanely effective that cities were like, yo, we should give this to our citizens. And actually, in fact, in order to protect the weakest among us who cannot take the vaccine, we should enforce as best as we can for people to take the vaccine. People had to be dragged kicking and screaming to do like things that are good for them. Like, look at healthcare in America, like literally arguing with people to make their healthcare system better. I just think the vaccine has become a cult at this point. Well, Cal, think that statement through. Like what do you think is going on there? Is it true that a single idea, which is that vaccines work, is accepted by a lot of free-thinking people literally across the world, or that somehow people are like, you know, getting rid of their family members, leaving their goods to go join a commune? Well, Cal, I encourage you to study immunology just a tiny little bit. You need to learn what herd immunity is, because that's kind of the point. That's why we need to get high vaccination rates. It's to protect those who can't get vaccinated. It's very simple. It's actually shockingly simple. Actually, since we have a lot of people very frustrated, I'm going to give a little voice to, this is coming from the left wing. This is a rant. And because we've been listening to so many horns and so many privileges are for commies, rights are for free men. They're coming for our commie privileges, brothers. Bro, I don't even know how to approach that, man. Like, I don't even know how to even like enter into that discussion, man. I don't even know how to get there. Like, it's so out there. You're just like, fucking, where are you finding this stuff? All right. So this is from a left-winger who is tired of divisive both sides nonsense, and they're blaming specifically right-wingers. And we're going to see if we can handle this. All right, I'm going to go off because I'm sick of this shit. Most people don't vote for Trudeau, hate conservatives because of some fake news or whatever Trudeau tells us. It's because of the conservatives' own actions and words. Here's the deal. I'll get to that after Cal. I never ever would have imagined growing up that a group like the Conservatives could be popular. They either lack empathy, are indifferent to the point of neglect, or are just downright vile to the sick, elderly, disabled, homeless. This is how some lefties see you. That's why they want the mandates dropped. Because to them, they either don't care that these people die, suffer, or actively relish in this fact. It's absolutely fucking disgusting and fills me with absolute rage when the mods on other subreddits let these people spew pure poison for the sake of impartiality. Quote, but the mandates were so hard on me. I'm a healthy individual and got COVID and it barely affected me, so clearly the mandates are the worst. Oh, boo fucking who. A lot of us have no choice but to go outside and interact with vaccine deliberating morons because we need food to live. Do you really think us living on scraps and disability can afford to get groceries delivered every time we need them? These fucking shit goblins think they're frustrated? I've been living every single fucking day praying that by some fucking miracle, some fuck doesn't transmit this awful disease and kill me and my family who are disabled, immunocompromised. Right? These people who are disabled, immunocompromised have zero options. How about my frustrations? How about my life? I clearly didn't write this, Alberto. I think it's important for you to see how the other side sees your movement. Or at least the more frustrated members. So I should be condemned to die and or watch my family members die? Oh, right, I forgot. We're nothing but leeches to society and should be downright thankful that you allow us to live by scraps. My mistake for assuming I had the same rights as you or that I'm allowed to be happy. But the vaccine isn't safe. Shove it. Just shove it. The creation risks of the vaccine have been public record and transparent since the beginning. Being an easily manipulated dumbass isn't an excuse for actively ignoring this or believing a con man selling you magic dick pills over actual experts. This is why I've stressed the importance of looking at the actual studies and how fucking dumb all of us are in this chat. Seriously, you think we even like blackface Trudeau? You really think he's some kind of messiah to us? Triple down on that point. Hell no. Fact is, even at their absolute worst, at least liberals don't make it a goal to make our lives worse. Sure, there are no rush to make it better, but I'll easily take that over getting run over by the cons. Take a moment to take this all in. I'm literally saying that we're in a situation that I prefer keeping the one boot on my neck over adding a second because I have no choice. I hate this. So I know it might have been a bit tough to hear for people who disagree, but I thought it was like a pretty... I think it matched the energy level that I've been seeing. Like, I've been watching protests and a whole lot of fuck you and this is my country and, you know, what you're going to do about it. Seeing a lot of pretty aggressive statements, even in this chat here. So I think it was important to sort of show how lefties are feeling. And I don't know, she had pretty good arguments. Why the fuck does her freedom not matter? That's the part I really still don't understand in this entire movement. Trading freedoms for safety will cost you both. Yeah, that's a quote from an American, Benjamin Franklin, and it was done in an era when vaccines didn't fucking exist, Sherpain. You could not have picked a more anachronistic thing. Your vax doesn't stop transmission? Buddy, if you go to the hospital because you've been hospitalized, do you think you're more likely to transmit the virus than if you're sitting at home just kind of having a few days that are a bit rough? What do you think is the more common, who do you think is going to get more exposed? I don't agree with your viewpoints, but brother, I appreciate it as human and see you have a viewpoint. It may be wrong. I feel for you, people who think this is the answer. Yeah, some of that I didn't agree with, what she was saying. But other stuff that she said absolutely echoed what I was saying, right? I had just finished a rant about and conservative leadership to actually properly oppose Trudeau because I don't like Trudeau. And then she's going off saying yeah, you think libs actually enjoy this guy? What are you talking about? So, I mean, I think you guys really need to take that in. It's really important. The real live streams are starting now. Everyone go watch with your own eyes instead of this snowflake babbling nonsense. Not a quote, a statement. I don't understand that last part, sorry. Truckers for freedom. So yeah, we're gonna see if we can pull up some live streams, not just like this weird scrolling shit. Oh, I know VidStorm had some good stuff from last night, actually. Yeah, okay, there we go. Or we can listen to CB radio, huh? CB radio? Oh, yeah, this was interesting. Apparently, police were getting trolled. Police were getting trolled? Bunch of people carrying empty jerry cans through the streets. That was not the Ben Franklin quote. What are you talking about? Trading freedoms for safety will cost you both. I mean, it's a misquoting, but that's pretty much what you're citing. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I've still wrecked you, Sherpain. Still clapped you pretty hard. Suck it up, Buttercup. Why did protesters heckle those that wore masks in Ottawa and that healthcare workers were told to disguise themselves? It goes both ways. Yeah. Like you can't say we're civil and peaceful and then we're hearing reports of healthcare workers being harassed. And we also pulled up that image and hung out on it for quite a while of like a very large protest at like a fucking heart hospital, like a cardiology. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy, man. Looks like you have to scroll through a loot of positivity to find your negative stuff. Sure.
Guys, this is beautiful.
Yeah? This is the negativity I was searching for?
Oh, my God.
Alberto?
This is like emotional, guys. Oh, my God.
This guy's crying. Double rainbow in the sky. Lol, not at all. You might want to read the Franklin quote. Man, this fucking people, man, they're so psychotic. Jesus. Then use more words and explain how your quote is different from the Ben Franklin one. Please enlighten me. All right, they're gonna like walking, drumming. That actually looks kind of heavy.
Baby. Yes.
Those that I think, if I can actually remember it from those that would sacrifice a little bit of freedom for safety deserve neither, I think is the Ben Franklin quote. Sacrifice a little bit of freedom for security. Deserve neither. Okay, we're gonna check out war campaigns footage. So yeah, that's that.
Wow. Okay.
He's setting up. Let's see what it gets up to. He's walking around. Looks kind of like wet and gross.
Fantastic, man. Cool. My kids are already asking me. They're like, Dad, when can we come back down to the Freedom Fair 2022? I said, kids, it's not a fair. It's actually a protest. They said, nah, Dad, it's a fair. There's bouncy castles. I think you don't know what you're talking about. So
yeah, I love the people who are like trying to get into fisticuffs online. It's like keyboard warrior shit. You know, like 12-year-olds do that shit, right? You know, like you're literally sounding like a 12-year-old on LOL. You know, like, send me your location. Like, right now, in my mind, when I see send location tough guy, I imagine you're like a 12 or 13-year-old. I'm pretty sure Alberto is a 12-year-old name. This is an 18+ stream, Alberto. No boys allowed in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, it had, you know, at least over the weekend, it was a festival-type atmosphere during the day. You know, the bouncy castle. People cooking food and just, you know.
Let's check out this interview.
You know, we're dropping videos and live streaming daily, so if you haven't subscribed to War Campaign, please do. Ro's going to be on the street doing this as much as he can every day.
How are you? How are you keeping? He's in Oregon. Penn, why don't you say hello, brother? Can you see that, Penn?
Wow, yeah, I'm in the beautiful state of Oregon, the United States. You know, lots of respect for you Canadians out there and everybody contributing to the convoy.
10-7. She's wearing 10-7 out of service shirts. It says,
I am. Why are you scared?
It's Freedom Convoy 2022 on the back. Yes, yes, that's it. How long have you been here?
I got stranded here on Saturday.
Okay.
I went home last night and came back this morning.
Okay, so you're coming and going. No worries.
I'm here.
There's no worries coming and going. Has any police talked to you or at all talked about ticketing you? There's a fellow Brett over on.
Can't ticket anybody on this route.
On this route they can't? No. On Bank and Slater, he was in the intersection. He was kind of on that curve of the intersection, and they were saying they're going to ticket him. They gave him a ticket, and they said they're going to tow him. They can't tow him? No?
No.
Tow trucks are out of service, man, due to COVID.
The tow trucks are out of service due to COVID. You hear that, Ben?
Is that right?
I figured out how to hack the system,
good.
everybody.
How about the honking? The honking's off, right?
I wonder how well they're going to hang on to those government contracts in a year's time. I wonder what's going to happen as that plays out.
Honking's out for 10 days.
Okay. And the reason for it, you've been told, is?
Out of respect for the people that live here.
Okay.
Wow. She understands.
Okay.
We're not here to harm them or bother them.
What the fuck? She's on point.
Yes.
Absolutely on point.
It's the government.
One of the greatest takes that I learned, one of the strangest things that was interesting to me, was that most of the people who work at Parliament don't live in the downtown core. They live in the wealthier suburbs, like that are like further removed. So all the people who have been honking and blaring their horns have only been pissing off residents. Like, it's not like there's any politicians that like fucking sleep across from Parliament Hill. Like, what are these? Like, the zero concept of like the actual livelihoods of the politicians these people went to protest, and now they're sort of like backing into the realization that, oh, all these residents are the ones facing the all right, see you later, Road Raven. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. Yeah, I'm glad she figured it out, though.
Right on. So now it's going to become a quiet, peaceful protest.
And we've still got food, we still got heat. Up here, up the street.
Bang some drums. Go out and start a song. Like, it's a protest. Do a speech. You don't have to be quiet. You don't have to sit in your car. Go fucking, like, do what protests do.
Designated areas now for fire pits. Because I know at one point we were kind of making fires, different locations, didn't really matter. Now they're designated, is that it? Or?
Well, that area up here, they do have burn barrels at each intersection up on Wellington.
Okay.
Burn barrels.
Yeah.
So as you're walking by, you can still stand and get warm.
Right. Mind you, it's pretty warm today, eh? -5, -6. All right.
Oh, it was chilly Saturday and Sunday.
I remember. I brought my kids. We were cold. Yeah. It was -15 or -18 at the night.
And I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh no? Where are you coming from? Tydenega. And that is?
In between Belleville, Ontario and Napanee, Ontario.
Right on. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
And I'm here until the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Or Trudeau, whichever first.
Or Trudeau grows some balls.
He was just in Parliament.
This guy. You see him yesterday? You saw a little clip of him?
Okay, we got another interview coming up here.
Right.
What are they going to do? Claim war on their citizens?
Right.
Really, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran of 12 years, so I know the Constitution right. And they're fucking up.
Where did you serve? What did you do?
I was Lower Strathcona, Royal Regiment. I was in the Tanker Corps. I was
excellent, sir. Excellent, sir.
Yep.
Right on, man.
Yeah,
so you
sir.
know better.
I know better.
And you ain't
Dude,
moving.
Look at this car, man. Just like covered. That's actually kind of awesome. I have to say, this is friggin' awesome.
I ain't going.
Not scared of nothing. What does it say on this flag?
That flag is not awesome. What the fuck did you do to our flag?
58 soldiers we lost in Afghanistan.
Say again?
The soldiers we lost in Afghanistan?
That's the 158 soldiers we lost in Afghanistan.
Oh, that's all of them, man. That's all their names.
Yeah, I mean, like, what did we accomplish? We didn't, like, fix the society or anything. Like, Afghanistan was a fucked up war. We had no reason to be there.
Mother was on the border.
You know, I guess they did their duty, but that's not how flags work. You don't read words on flags. I hate this meme.
Of Afghanistan and undivided India. Oh? Yeah, my grandfather was in the military there. Yeah. These guys lied, man.
They're dead. Now they're caught. Can't play with the devil.
Yeah, the protests will probably lose steam, especially without the horns. They won't have their, like, outrage. Why are they carrying jerry cans? Thought they couldn't get fuel. They're flouting the law, essentially.
Good for you, brother. Hail and thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. I love his truck, though. Amazing. Bunch of signatures and
real
messages.
Shit. Real shit right there.
Man.
Awesome, real shit.
I could feel that dude's fighting spirit coming through the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
He sounded pretty low energy.
Hardcore, man. Hardcore.
That's deep, brother.
It is, brother.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay, we got some trucks up here.
All right, we're at Metcalf and Albert.
Metcalf and Albert. Okay, skipping ahead.
A lot of people, man. They're still sitting here quiet now.
Oh, this looks like not a festive atmosphere.
Not a lot changed. I see all the same vehicles and people.
Hydration check. Get some water. Good back.
I smell a little bit of cannabis in the air.
There you go.
Yeah. We got A1 gas. People feel the personal choices of others are selfish and need to be regulated. No, selfishness is expecting others to surrender their liberty so you can enjoy a false sense of freedom. Hail, brother. And a big hail and thank you for the donation, Jake Hensley. Hail, brother. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jake. Get to Ottawa, says Original C. That's right. Get to Ottawa. Come down. And this is basically what I look like, in case you don't know. But I'm walking up to my doppelganger.
All right. It's the other road.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Perfection. Perfection. Oh, man. Hell, brother.
I love this guy.
Right?
What a cool dude.
Very cool dude. Very cool dude. Truth, love, freedom, says Joe Potter. Hell, brother. Billy D's in the chat. We got Lou in the chat. Hail, brethren. Hail. Bill Laird. Truckers here in the USA are pulling together. Hail, Bill. Hail, brother. Chief Burger. Wow. Thank you, Chief Burger, for the very generous donation. Highly appreciated, Chief. Thank you, sir. Hail the brethren and hail our boots on the ground. Ro is the best journalist I've seen in years. Thank you, Chief. I know Chief a long time.
There you go.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you. He knows I never expected to be doing any of this, but here we are, man. I was content to have a normal life. You know what I mean, Pan? To be a normie.
Normie?
Right? I mean, we were just doing an internet comedy show twice a week on our other channel, the War Campaign Live Show channel. If you haven't already, check that out. Just kind of making fun of pop culture and laughing at social justice warriors and trying to have a good time.
Man, nothing dates you more than using the term social justice warrior.
We watched
what is it, the 90s?
Essentially. That's kind of what we were doing up to this point, was just laughing on the internet.
Oh, this is interesting. This is the interim leader of the Conservatives, Candice Bergen, pictured here having friendly pizza with the protesters in the downtown occupation zone accuses Trudeau of escalating the situation by name-calling. So we know where the Conservatives stand, squarely with the people trying to, let's just say protest.
Jackasses and having fun, commenting on, these Marxists and communists and just laughing at cucks, basically. Got a little bit serious, in Rose Home.
Wow, what a dumb statement. If you smell my fart, then your mask don't work. This person suddenly, like a aerosol expert, understands how microscopic fluid dynamics works. Fucking Christ.
Basically.
Opioid overdose deaths. Wow. It's just like these are such different things.
Got a little bit serious, in Rose's hometown of Ottawa. So here he is out on the street covering Freedom Live, supporting the truckers. So thank you, Eric. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe.
Yeah, the harm of the horns. That's exactly why at the top of the stream is that, quote, tooting a horn is not an expression of any great thought I'm aware of. It's so freaking funny.
Hell, brother, thank you, Pat. Absolutely. We got Bean from Pa. My old girlfriend, Hail, Bean from Pa. She says, congrats on the channel success. Riveting watch. Thank you, Bean. Thank you so much.
Is it a riveting watch?
Thanks, Bean. Appreciate it. Hail, sister. Been a long time. Oh. I hope you're doing well.
Sorry for blasting your ears. My bad.
Bean is a lovely lady. She got beautiful legs.
Weird.
The best legs in the business.
Weird. Weird. Kinda odd, dude.
Dom says, take back the country.
Take back the country.
Hell, brother.
Look, Trudeau's a traitor. Yeah, that's super hinged.
Jesus loves you all, says Ukimiatian Fun. Hell, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yes, indeed, sir.
Yeah, sir.
It's early morning here. It's 10:30. Well, I guess coming up.
I wish they had the size of the protest for the Every Child Matters white privilege protest.
Not too early morning.
You really sounding off, Laura, this morning?
And we don't want anything to do with you.
You just can't. I just can't personally.
It looks super like calm compared to before. Maybe it's just because it's just so
terrorists. They want to paint them as insurrectionists. That's the word that the
Ottawa
government was using yesterday.
No, they used the word occupy.
Okay, there's a city councilor who was repeating, "Hail, brother, thank you, sir," and he was saying insurrectionists.
Well, one of the leaders wants to overthrow the federal government, so.
All right, so you tell me, man. They're calling these fellas over here, all these people coming down. Right now, they're eating breakfast for freedom. All right?
Well, that's a smart way, negotiating to not honk, because now,
Negotiating to not honk. Buddy, you got that so wrong. A court had to clap you down with an injunction.
Negotiating to not honk.
Wow. This is where disinformation starts, right? Like the denial, the cope, the insane copium. Like a judge clapped y'all down and said, honking is not, tooting a horn is not an expression of any great thought. Yeah, like you do not negotiate that.
Negotiating to not honk, because now I think what the left and the opposition were thinking was honking is violence. Oh my God, it's so violent that they're honking. Well, okay.
It's like these people have never had someone blare a horn in their ear or something. It's like they're just like hearing damage. What's a hearing damage?
Truckers have proven that they can be diplomatic.
We got 5,000 people
and they put down their sword, so to speak. Their violent horns. And it's showing that they do actually want a peaceful resolution.
Yeah, they were calling these fine fellows over here insurrectionists. Right yesterday. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Look at it. He's trying to rile up the crowd.
Mainstream media. This is a
they're like, it's cold. I'm hungry.
Calling these fine
all the women doing the food prep.
It's like camping. Basically like car camping. That's what it feels like. No? Yeah, exactly. It's like when I took my kids up to Newfoundland and we went up to that mountain there, the Bowl, or car camping. I mean, this is what I love, Coleman.
Okay, we're gonna skip ahead a bit. They got a whole barbecues.
The world wants to know, what does a freedom sandwich taste like?
Holy shit, man! Those hogs are eating good this morning, man. They getting burgers. Dang.
We're about to find out.
I'm not domesticated, so
I've never had a fucking burger at a protest. What the fuck?
That's okay. I am domesticated. My wife trained me well. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Just up here in Ottawa, East End.
Okay.
And then when I saw everything, I'm like, I mean, that's it, you know? I brought my kids on the weekend, and we got involved, and then covered the counter-protest on Saturday.
Did you?
Yeah, that was interesting. Had a talk with them,
We
and
got clapped.
then my boss popped in.
Funny, how did the Americans get across the borders? They need to be vaccinated? I don't know how many Americans are at this protest, Laura. I don't think that's what's going on. I think they're just like really tapped into this issue. They're like, Truck, yeah, the Canadians are rising up. So like, to all the people who have told me like, ooh, I'm so sick of Canadians talking about American news, like this is why. Like I've been afraid for American culture to like leap over the border and just start like massively infecting our citizens with dumbass psyop campaigns. And here we go. It's happening. It's happened. So yeah, I feel like pretty justified in my anxiety about like American propaganda.
We got Tajia Daily, $5. Fuck the globalists. Stand up to tyranny. Love and prayers from Florida.
Get the
freedom. Hail Tajia.
Get the globalists. Shouldn't all those kids that are apparently there be in school during the week? Yeah, I think a lot of people point that out. Like, it's just like, okay, kids, we're taking you out of school to go sit in a truck cab. I'm bored. I'll be right back, honey. I'm just going to go protest for a few hours, okay? Just be right back once the party's over. Do your homework. I got the truck cab on, the light on. I'll turn on the lights for you. Mommy, child aid services knocked on the window while you were gone. Poor kids. They probably either know absolutely what this is about or have absolutely no idea what this is about. It's one or the other. They're totally tapped in and they're having the time of their lives, or they're so fucking bored. Yeah, no. Education obviously isn't worth very much. These people were losing to a 21-year-old because the 21-year-old had a strong enough education to file an appeal to the court. Like, no horns, everybody. 0 horns.
I know.
Literally,
some people
peace.
who have had tragedy in their lives.
This guy's trying to argue with cops.
Real tragedy out there.
We will not comply.
Awesome patriot. He says, "Hail truckers, freedom." Hail,
Merci à tous. Oh, breaking the law, asshole. Got a rebel. Police just walked by.
We got a rebel.
You got a rebel, everybody.
Honking for freedom.
Now they're really honking for freedom. They're like, I'm a rebel.
They are
Honk,
criminals,
honk.
says Andre. Alexandru. They are criminals.
You're breaking the law.
You're breaking the law.
Asshole
Don't
is the
tase
next
me,
part of
bro,
that.
Says Z-Mac. Hail, brother. Hail, brother.
Yeah, Trudeau for treason, I'm seeing. Like, that's a scary one. So what kind of backlash is there for honking at this point, given the injunction? I mean, we're seeing it. Doesn't look like there's much backlash. I think my favorite quote was that one person saying, like, I mean, if you can hear it in their own language. That one lady is like, well, we're doing it to respect the people in the residences. Wrong. Court had to force you to stop. This guy said, well, it's good that we negotiated this. Wrong. The court forced you to stop. So right now, these people are like in shambles. Like, that's the definition of shambles. You're in full retreat. You're just like retconning everything, trying to pretend like you actually cared about the residents' health and well-being when the courts literally had to clap you down. So that's why it's super funny to listen to them and like, what, and should there be backlash? I mean, you're hearing it, that little guy honking his horn. There's your backlash. But I don't know what they're gonna do. Like they don't have a moral leg to stand on, and the courts have clapped them down pretty hard. So the next 10 days, maybe at the end of the 10 days, you'll start to see people push it, especially on that ninth day. But right now, like there's police walking the streets and probably keeping everyone's, Canadians are not as rowdy, let's say, as Americans can get.
Equals violence.
Right.
The cold makes you timid.
Yo, the funniest
is there anything the cops are meant to do or anything? Yeah, like if you see someone, we started the stream with someone who got arrested, right? Like essentially what happens is someone blares on their horn for a long period of time. The police get a couple calls saying, hey, this person's doing this thing. They go check it out. They say, hey, can you please stop this or else we're going to have to arrest you. And or we're going to have to ticket you or whatever. And the person says, no, fuck you, how dare you? And becomes an altercation. Well, then now the police have the powers to go arrest this person because now they're not even receiving the summons to go to court. So it's resisting arrests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Like, you see the counter protesters, Pantifa, they put all their plans up on Reddit, okay?
Go to Reddit. It's where Antifa organizes.
Like, if anyone's feelings, if you feel unsafe and you're emotionally...
Like, I just love this, right? Conservatives are just self-reporting so hard. Like, every time they make that baby face about people expressing, like feelings of fear, they're... while like walking past signs that say freedom over fear, like no, like facts over fear or whatever. It's just like, you guys have no empathy. Like this is why people are frustrated with you. Like you're demanding empathy while refusing it. So, it's hard to really see eye to eye.
Hurting and you just can't be here because of your anxiety and how weak you feel, right? Then don't.
Fuck your feelings. That's what he's saying essentially.
Come on, man. How you gonna win when you got that attitude?
There it is. How you gonna win? Ain't about morals. It ain't about rights. It ain't about freedoms. It's about winning.
Dude, brother, my kid said that too.
There it is. There it is.
Exactly.
Self-report. Massive self-report.
People are too sensitive. Like, get over it, you pussies.
More misogynistic language. Oh, look at these alpha men, walking the streets, talking to each other. Jesus, start a podcast already.
You can't, I'll tell you one thing, right? You can't, how can you ever get anywhere in life if you got that attitude?
Hey, it's almost like empathy is a good thing for creatures that rely upon social relationships to get on. Humans are social creatures, so empathy is a pretty big part of that.
You can't get it.
Be rough,
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of tears if you're a crying sissy all the time.
I saw a video on either Twitter or TikTok with audio clips, and someone's diabetic brother was stuck. They were pleading to let him through, and the actual statement back was that they didn't care if he died. Yeah, we already saw that once with like the ambulance, someone who died in an ambulance because they couldn't get through the crowd. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a few others that come out, like a few edge cases of like people who couldn't get through a blockade.
Yeah, you can't get anywhere in life with that attitude, man.
Hey, there's that guy we saw earlier.
No, and these are the same people that, want government handouts, so I think it's, they go hand in hand, these are people that don't want to work, they want to live off of welfare.
Oh, there it is. These people want to live off the welfare, not like us pulling ourselves up their beach. Like, come on, man, what are you talking about?
Big government,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the blue hair. I'm waiting for them to mention that we all have blue hair too.
Yeah, they love it, man, because they can get all their needs looked after, and they don't have to take any responsibility for themselves. Just get all your needs looked after by government.
You guys aren't taking responsibility over it. You hear that horn in the background, actually? That's a fucking train horn.
Government,
That's loud.
You don't need to, and this is actually what destroys families. This is my 2 cents, okay? This welfare...
And just to be clear, like, there are normal conservatives. This is a normal conservative. Are you guys ready to listen to a normie? Can you handle it?
So if Canadians individually or in groups want to protest by walking up and down Wellington Street or by standing around the Centennial Flame in front of Parliament, they are free to do so. millions of Canadians over many decades have exercised this fundamental freedom.
True.
But what Canadians do not have the right to do is to blockade.
Yeah. I thought conservatives were against blockades. Y'all were really against the blockades just a few years ago. What changed?
There is no right to blockade.
Blockade for me, but not for thee?
There is no right to blockade a street. There is no right to blockade a highway.
True.
There is no right to blockade an international border crossing.
True.
There is no...
You can put your bodies on the line, and you can wait for cops to pick you up and arrest you and give you a citation, which is how you're supposed to protest. That's civil disobedience. But I don't know about driving cars and trucks to a protest. That never plays out well.
No right to blockade the construction of a new pipeline, nor is there a right to blockade a rail line. There is simply...
Well, I don't know about the blockading oil pipeline, considering where we stand with climate change, but that's another topic for another day.
No right to blockade. And Canadians do not have the right to harm other people or to interfere with the freedoms of their fellow citizens. And while freedoms are fundamental, they are not unlimited.
True.
Freedoms are limited by what harm they do to other people.
Golly gee.
And freedoms are limited by how they interfere with other people's freedoms.
Wow. I love listening to normal conservatives who actually understand how law and society works. Like, this is the 101 stuff, right? Like, this is such basic stuff, and yet we're not hearing it from conservatives. Michael Chong is one of the only conservatives that I actually like proper respect, that I like consistently expect an opinion I disagree with, but generally understands like how our society works and like politics and stuff. Like, he's not a complete baby brain. And it's incredible that he's not the leader right now. I can't believe he isn't.
States, you know, this whole socialized everything, it destroys families, man. It really does. It's like...
It's all about the nuclear family, brother.
You don't depend on your family anymore. You just depend on the state. You replace your family with the state. And that's a degradation, man. They really do want to destroy the family, man. That's why I homeschooled. We homeschooled all our kids.
Homeschoolers. Fucking homeschooler.
We're fortunate enough to be able to do that. Not everybody is. Freddie Cruz.
Only people who can afford to homeschool have money to have one parent at home. Like, that's insane to me. Like, how many people have that privilege? Like, fuck it. Fuck.
You are amazing. Hail, Freddie. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Hail, brother.
Hail, brother. Okay, in an emergency press conference, the truckers' new spokesperson, Tom Marazzo, says, "I'm willing to sit at a table with the Conservatives and the NDP in the bloc as a coalition. I'll sit with the Governor General." This man imagines he's part of a party.
Peaceful resolution. We're here to talk. Let's find a peaceful resolution to this. I want to go home. I want to go home, but I'm not. I'm not going until I'm no longer needed here. And based on all the support that we have from the people of Canada, I have an incredible amount of support and a lot of people that seem to want me here. And I'm not going home until the job is done. Okay? I am not calling for violence. I'm not expecting you to get into your vehicle, drive here, and create problems, create crimes.
It's a field trip, loud tyrant youth. The trucker convoy is a giant fucking field trip. That's why there's so many kids.
Okay, that's not what we're saying. Strength in numbers. We got sent here to send a message. Stupid. The message isn't getting through. He's not getting it. And I apologize if I'm bashing.
We're gonna do civics, kids. I cannot get over this. This is so funny to me. All the kids are getting their homeschooling at Parliament Hill, learning about government. So you see, kids, there's this thing called the New World Order, okay?
But honestly, from my assessment, he's got a 22 caliber mind in a 357 world.
What the fuck?
Okay? Let's get at a table, for God's sakes. Enough hiding. I'm willing to sit at a table with the Conservatives and the NDP.
The biggest wusses refer to guns when they're talking.
In the bloc, as a coalition. I'll sit with the Governor General.
A coalition.
You put me at somebody, put us.
He's like, I'll sit with anyone. Somebody give me legitimacy.
At the table with somebody that
respects you.
Actually cares about Canada.
Somebody respect me. Somebody, please, for the love of God, respect our movement. Okay, this was something from The Guardian that I thought was really interesting. 5G and QAnon, how conspiracy theorists steered Canada's anti-vaccine trucker protest. Deeper in the article, there's this line. Another group, Action for Canada, launched legal challenges to mask and vaccine mandates. In one 400-page court filing, they allege that the, quote, false pronouncement of a COVID-19 pandemic was carried out, at least in part, by Bill Gates and a New World Economic Order to facilitate the injection of 5G-enabled microchips into the population. That's who we're up against, everybody. A 400-page... How? 400 pages? How the fuck does that happen? I can't write 400 pages if I was paid to write 400. I guess they were paid to write 400 pages, but damn, that just reeks of conspiracy screed. Like someone just like, and another thing about the New World Order. Well, golly geez, everyone, it's been quite the morning. I hope that you all enjoyed your stay. It's unfortunately that time again, and we are gonna watch Freedom Truckers play hockey as we end the stream and figure out who we're gonna raid. I'll probably send you guys over to preach. But I hope you guys enjoyed your stay. Hope you had fun. Give a like, give a follow, share this stuff, and yeah, we'll keep on keeping on. We'll keep on close to this story. It's developing. It's super interesting. And I absolutely want to make sure to get as much live footage as possible. So yeah, we're going to figure out who to raid. I kind of want to raid Lucid Fox. You guys ever heard of Lucid Fox? He's really good. He's really interesting. He's more American news though. Let's see if he's live. Yeah, he's live. So let's raid Lucid Fox. I'll send all y'all over there, and I hope you guys have a totally wonderful, lovely day. You know. Oh no, not that person. A one viewer Andy. That's not gonna happen. Okay, so yeah, the raid is starting. I hope you guys all have a lovely day. I'll see you later. I'll be here tomorrow morning, and of course Saturdays, Rich Food for Poor Folk at 6 p.m. We'll be making some delicious food. But I'll see you later. Go say hi to Lucid.